This is the world we share. 5,000 languages. What language do you speak?
Quelle langue parlez-vous?
ما هي اللغة التي تتكلمها؟
你讲哪一国话？
На каком языке вы говорите?
¿Qué idioma habla usted?
24 time zones. What time is it where you live? 7 continents. 5.8 billion people. We all share one world. Where are you? This is your world. Your life. Your future. In an instant, it can change.
Today, 260,000 children will be born. What will their future be like?
De quoi leur avenir sera-t-il fait?
كيف سيكون حالهم في المستقبل؟
他们会有什么样的未来？
Что их ждет впереди?
¿Cuál será su futuro?
More than ever, we are partners in a world that binds us. More than ever, we all share one world. The cocoa harvested in Ghana today will be sold in the markets of Paris tomorrow. A car designed in one country is equipped with air conditioning in another and receives its engine and transmission from yet a third country. For a tourist in Tokyo, withdrawing yen from a cash machine involves 2 satellites, 3 banks, and 2 continents. Total time, 16 seconds. For the first time in history, today's message in a bottle arrives instantly. In the next 10 seconds, millions of phone calls will circle the globe, linking countries, people, and providing information. In the next hour, 11,000 children will be born. What will their future be like?
Join us for a glimpse of the possibilities in your future. I Am the UN explores our history and the work of member states. You'll also meet the people who work for the United Nations. We Are the United Nations will introduce you to more than 30 agencies working in partnership with thousands of organizations to deliver assistance. You'll visit with the peacekeepers, volunteers, specialists, and technicians who are working for a better world. Together, our future will show you how your contribution can and must make a difference.
In 1945, 50 countries met in San Francisco to create a new world order, a vision for the future. Today, the United Nations Charter is more relevant than ever. A partnership of nations committed to peace, justice, equality, and development. More than 30 agencies deliver assistance. Right now, tens of thousands of doctors, Engineers, world leaders, teachers, and artists are working to make our world a better place. They are people like you. Over the last 50 years, this worldwide partnership, which began with 50 member states, has grown to include 185 nations from every corner of the globe. Come visit the organization devoted entirely to our future. The sorrow of mankind. Unspeakable suffering. The tragedy inflicted on future generations. From this legacy of 2 world wars, the United Nations was born.
In 1944, the Bretton Woods Agreement called for a World Bank to assist the post-war recovery and lay the foundation for economic reconstruction. In June of 1945, 50 countries met in San Francisco to carry this mission forward. They created a new world order committed to peace, justice, equality, and development. Today, 50 years later, this United Nations partnership continues to add new members as history records its achievements. In 1948, with 58 member states, our partners adopted the first Universal Declaration for Human Rights. 1955, with 76 members, the United Nations received the Nobel Peace Prize for helping to resettle the refugees of Europe. In 1965, with 118 members, the largest fund for technical assistance was formed. To this day, the UNDP offers social and economic help through local partnerships in 135 offices worldwide. By 1974, 138 nations had signed the charter and together saved the sight of more than 7 million children threatened by river blindness. In 1980, with 154 member states, a global program led by the World Health Organization wiped smallpox from the face of the earth. 1992, grown to 179 nations, the global community assembled to set an agenda for protecting our global environment. The meeting was one in a continuing series of conferences set up to address the world's most pressing issues. In 1995, now 185 nations strong, our global partnership organized the largest gathering of world leaders in history. poverty, employment, and social exclusion were at the top of their agenda. With the end of the Cold War, 50 years since the UN Charter was signed, we have reached a turning point in history. We must redefine and redirect our mission. We must and can influence what we leave in history's wake. One country, one vote. The UN General Assembly is a democratic forum which allows member nations to measure their resolve. The commitment of your governments permits us to act. The Secretary General, appointed by member nations, identifies and helps solve international disputes that threaten the world's peace and security. Both the Secretariat and the Secretary General, who acts as the UN's chief administrator, report to the General Assembly. With 5 permanent members and 10 elected on a rotating basis, the Security Council keeps watch over issues regarding peace and security. If necessary, the Council has the authority to impose economic sanctions and, at the request of members, deploy peacekeeping missions. Decisions made by the Council are binding for all 185 member states. The Trusteeship Council, established to oversee trust territories under foreign administrations, has now completed its work. Territories previously under the Council's supervision have either achieved independence or merged with adjoining countries. The International Court of Justice is the world's highest international judicial authority. Its judgments and precedents are arrived at by 15 judges, elected jointly by the General Assembly and the Security Council. The Economic and Social Council coordinates a vast network of over 30 funds, agencies, and programs. Together, they span the globe, delivering assistance directly or with the help of thousands of international, national, and private organizations. Today, the views of non-governmental organizations contribute to the debates on global issues in UN forums all over the world. Witness how partnership works.
A teacher in Guatemala, a doctor in Cambodia, a peacekeeper from Ghana, an Irishman in Nepal working to develop tourism, a farmer from England helping Mongolians adapt to a free market economy, peacekeepers, volunteers, specialists, and technicians. Men and women from nations around the world are working for the United Nations. They are people like you and me. Edith is an entomologist on patrol in Tanzania, Working with a team of scientists from Switzerland, Brazil, England, Spain, the Netherlands, and various parts of Tanzania, she is testing a malaria vaccine, which, if successful, will benefit all countries. Each year, 270 million people contract malaria worldwide, and 1 million die. This tropical disease is even more widespread than AIDS. The Panama Hat. 400,000 women from Ecuador rely on the sale of these straw hats to live. With Tanya's help, these women have set up a cooperative to secure fair prices for their work by eliminating the middlemen. Oceans apart from Tanya is Hosnia in Palestine. Her refugee camp is the site of a thriving clothing industry, which provides jobs for women and develops the Palestinian economy. Stuart is on a mission. From England, he has come as a volunteer to this rainforest in the Sichuan province of China. His skills will help save a black and white bear that has charmed the world. Stuart shares his knowledge of wildlife management with local experts. Together, they protect the 100 pandas left in China. With Jeff and Bernie's help, these islanders have transformed the lives of people throughout the Pacific archipelagos. A simple but ingenious pump made from local materials allows islanders to draw water in times of drought. Islanders say they now spend less time choosing over who will have the important but tedious task of collecting water. Jeff, Bernie, and the islanders have more time to do the twist. Jeff, Bernie, Edith, Stuart, Tanya, and Hosnia work for the UN. They are people like you and me.
Commitment, shared responsibility, the essential nature of partnership. Working together, we are achieving more than we can alone. Communities, governments, worldwide agencies, and people like you join forces to confront the world's most pressing issues. Together, we are fighting poverty, illiteracy, and helping to create jobs. We are protecting the environment. We are feeding refugees and delivering humanitarian aid wherever disaster and crisis strike. We are working towards peace and stability. We are developing the talents of women around the world. We are fostering business and trade. We are setting safety standards to protect you every time you fly. Each time you board a ship. Thousands of activities, current, vibrant, with tens of thousands of men and women participating. Yet so much remains to be done. Come, explore our partnerships with people like you. See what we can do when we tackle our problems in the spirit of joint responsibility. These are the soldiers of peace. From all nations, for one cause, world peace and security. "50 years ago, this vision brought the nations of the world together. For the first time, peace abroad was linked to domestic security. Without it, no nation was deemed entirely safe at home. At the request of your representatives, peacekeeping through the United Nations was born. These are the faces of freedom. Men and women from more than 100 countries, keeping a measure of calm within states and between nations until a solution is found. In the cause of human freedom, peacekeepers continue to sacrifice their lives. You will find them guarding airports and securing roads for the safe passage of humanitarian relief. You will see them evacuating and protecting refugees. They are there, overseeing free elections and standing guard as the weapons of war are destroyed. By keeping their vigil for peace, they have averted conflicts and helped to liberate millions. We are the members who sent them. Since the end of the Cold War, the nature of conflict has changed. 79 out of 82 recent crises are conflicts within states. In response to this new reality, world governments now debate the Secretary General's Agenda for Peace. This document outlines peacemaking and peace building and addresses the root causes of conflict: economic despair, social injustice, and political oppression. By halting their advance, we can build a lasting peace. Now, more than ever, local partnerships will make a difference. Working together, we can give freedom a human face.
Post a letter to a friend in another country. Email someone anywhere in the world. Park your country's satellite in space. Board a plane or ship and travel safely. Worldwide standards allow this all to happen. From space, the World Weather Watch transmits 20,000 land, sea, and air weather observations daily. 3 world, 31 regional, and 170 national centers receive the information, helping millions of people avoid natural disaster. Over 400 treaties also touch our daily lives, giving women a voice, providing the opportunity for all people to think, act, talk, and vote, protecting historical sites, and deterring nuclear disaster. A global environment system called GEMS helps preserve and protect the riches of our natural world, keeping watch over endangered species. 2.8 million national trademarks, along with copyrights and patents, safeguard the works of authors, composers, artists, and inventors. A web of world partnerships linked by common needs. Now, more than ever, treaties and standards protect the resources we share.
Every second counts. An instant's cooperation can mean the difference between life and death. Crisis strikes at any time, anywhere, with no respect for boundaries. Crisis affects each and every one of us. At the turn of the century, 1 in 20 victims of crisis was a civilian. Today, 95% are civilians, mostly women and children. In the last 4 years, at the request of governments, the UN has coordinated 50 global appeals, rehabilitating and saving lives. Today, 60 million people are trapped by or fleeing from war, famine, and persecution. The UN High Commissioner for Refugees protects them and assists with resettlement, providing food, shelter, medical help, and education. In the last decade, 1 million people have died or been left homeless from natural disasters. Hundreds of agencies have stepped in to provide relief.
They include UNICEF. In a single year, their relief efforts responded to more than 64 emergencies around the world. The World Food Program distributes 2 million tons of food, donated annually by 90 countries. But food alone is not enough. A solution of lasting value helps people develop their own talents, cultivate their own resources. In Burkina Faso, the issue was drought. Seed, fertilizer, water, and power were supplied through a loan from the World Bank. After the rains, the crops were bountiful. For the starving, these programs become a lasting source of food production. In times of crisis, an instant's cooperation can mean the difference between life and death. In times of crisis, a world working together is rebuilding lives. Every second counts.
This is how most people see the world. North and south, east and west, have and have not, industrialized countries, third world countries. Your problem, my problem. But consider this. Fact. More progress has been made in the last 50 years than over the last 2,000. Fact. Developing countries have advanced more in 30 years than industrial nations have in the course of the entire 20th century. Fact. The Secretary General's Agenda for Development has singled out development as the most important task facing humanity today. When we speak of developing a better world, we're talking about what's at stake for every citizen of this planet, including you.
At stake is the world's quality of life. In Kenya, this means communications. Farmers are negotiating better prices for their crops before they're sold in one of the largest fruit and vegetable markets of the world near Paris. In China, this means transportation. Newly constructed roads, with tolls repaying a loan from the World Bank, have cut a 4-hour journey down to a 30-minute trip, making commerce and trade possible. In Bangladesh, this means employment and food. More than 1.5 million people are building roads, flood walls, and planting trees to better their world and to feed themselves with help from WFP's Food for Work program. In Switzerland, this means solving the collective problem of global warming. In the next century, a projected 2 to 5% rise in temperature will disrupt both Switzerland's economy and the water cycles of neighboring countries who rely on Switzerland for water.
At stake is the world's quality of life. This also means 1.5 billion people without access to safe drinking water. 142,000 square kilometers of rainforest destroyed every year. 1 billion world citizens living on less than $1 a day. 15 million people dying each year from hunger, malnutrition, and poverty-related causes. They are mostly children. What will their future be like? This is the face of the future, unless we act now. This is the face of the future. It doesn't have to be.
Each dollar a day spent on forecasting weather provides a $15 return to farmers. 4 cents a year will provide enough vitamin A to prevent a child from going blind. An extra 3 cents a day will allow children throughout the world to receive primary education. An additional 2 cents a day will provide clean water to the 1.5 billion who need it. At stake is our world's quality of life. It takes so little to make a difference.
more than ever, we are partners in a world that binds us. More than ever, every second counts. Today, 260,000 children will be born. By the year 2050, the world's population will double. What will our future be like? One-third of all adults cannot read or write. 142,000 square kilometers of rainforest destroyed every year. Every day, over 230,000 people are newly unemployed. Each year, malaria kills 1 million people. 1.5 million children have died in wars over the last 10 years. With every drink of water, 1.5 billion people risk their lives. More than 800 million people are starving every year, a number equal to the combined populations of Europe, Central Asia, and the United States. We all share one world, yet no crisis has ever respected its borders. Every 40 days, a population the size of New York City, New Delhi, or Paris is born. Yet throughout the world, environmental damage kills the very resources needed to sustain it. Political freedom has taken root in countries around the world, yet 60 million refugees are currently trapped by or fleeing from war, famine, or persecution. Life expectancy is higher than any time in our history, yet every minute, another man, woman, or child contracts tuberculosis or HIV/AIDS. The problems in our world do converge. There are no easy answers. The solutions begin with each of us. But all of us must do our part. Citizens, nations, and partners alike. Tomorrow, 260,000 children will be born. Together, we can shape their future.
You can be a teacher, helping students read. You can be a relief worker, distributing food and medicine. You can be a restorer, saving works of art. You can think globally and act locally. You can make a difference. Right now, people in your community are researching issues, writing letters, and starting programs for recycling. Right now, people you know are volunteering time and sharing their skills. Right now, you can listen to the news, talk with your friends, and plan a course of action, however modest. Right now, young people around the world are pledging time to a citizen action program called Passport to the Future. You can join them. Right now, you can think locally and act globally. Right now, you can make a difference.
This is the world we share. 5,000 languages. What language do you speak?
Quelle langue parlez-vous?
ما هي اللغة التي تتكلمها؟
你讲哪一国话？
На каком языке вы говорите?
¿Qué idioma habla usted?
24 time zones. What time is it where you live? 7 continents. 5.8 billion people. We all share one world. Where are you? This is your world. Your life. Your future. This is the world we share.
A web of world partnerships linked by common need. More than ever, we are partners in a world that binds us. More than ever, every second counts. Today, 260,000 children will be born. What will their future be like?
De quoi leur avenir sera-t-il fait?
كيف سيكون حالهم في المستقبل؟
他们会有什么样的未来？
Что их ждет впереди?
¿Cuál será su futuro?
This is how most people see the world. North and south, east and west, have and have not, industrialized countries, third world countries. Your problem, my problem. But consider this. More progress has been made in the last 50 years than over the last 2,000. Developing countries have advanced more in 30 years than industrial nations have in the course of the entire 20th century.
In the last 50 years, the world has witnessed unconscionable oppression and the affirmation of human rights. Regional conflicts and the end of the Cold War. Grinding poverty and exponential growth. The ravages of disease and the eradication of smallpox. Destruction on a scale unprecedented in history. And a world rebuilt from ruins.
In June of 1945, 50 countries met in San Francisco to create a new world order, a vision for the future. Today, the Charter of the United Nations is more relevant than ever. A partnership of member states committed to peace, justice, equality, and development. One country, one vote. The UN General Assembly is a democratic forum which allows member nations to measure their resolve. The commitment of your governments permits us to act. More than 30 agencies, funds, and programs working in partnership with thousands of international, national, and private organizations. This vast network spans the globe, tackling the world's problems in the spirit of joint responsibility. Over the last 50 years, this worldwide partnership, which began with 50 member states, has grown to include 185 nations. Working together, we are achieving more than we can alone. Right now, teachers are helping students to read. Relief workers are distributing food and medicine. Environmentalists are making water safe to drink. Right now, peacekeepers are monitoring ceasefires and negotiations. Bankers are financing projects for development. Restorers are saving works of art. We are developing the talents of women around the world. We are setting safety standards to protect you each time you board a ship, every time you fly. Thousands of activities, current, vibrant, with tens of thousands of men and women participating. Yet so much remains to be done. At stake is the world's quality of life. This also means 1.5 billion people without access to safe drinking water. 142,000 square kilometers of rainforest destroyed every year. 1 billion world citizens living on less than $1 a day. 15 million people dying each year from hunger, malnutrition, and poverty-related causes. They are mostly children. What will their future be like? This is the face of the future, unless we act now. This is the face of the future. It doesn't have to be.
Each dollar a day spent on forecasting weather provides a $15 return to farmers. 4 cents a year will provide enough vitamin A to prevent a child from going blind. An extra 3 cents a day will allow children throughout the world to receive primary education. An additional 2 cents a day will provide clean water to the 1.5 billion who need it. At stake is our world's quality of life. It takes so little to make a difference.
You can think globally and act locally. You can make a difference. Right now, people in your community are researching issues, writing letters, and starting programs for recycling. Right now, people you know are volunteering time and sharing their skills. Right now, you can listen to the news, talk with your friends, and plan a course of action, however modest. Right now, young people around the world are pledging time to a citizen action program called Passport to the Future. You can join them. Right now, you can think locally and act globally. Right now, you can make a difference. At stake is your world, your life, your future. At stake is our world's quality of life.
Today, 260,000 children will be born. We can shape their future. Tomorrow, 260,000 children will be born. You can, you must make a difference.
This is the world we share. The problems we face have no borders. The solutions we share have no boundaries. There are no limits to what we can do when we work together. All life on Earth is sacred and interconnected.
We, the peoples of the United Nations, determined to save succeeding generations from the scourge of war.
Nous, peuple des Nations Unies, résolus à préserver les générations futures du fléau de la guerre.
نحن شعوب الأمم المتحدة وقد آلينا على أنفسنا أن ننقذ الأجيال المقبلة.
我联合国人民决心预免后世再遭今代人类两度身历惨不堪言之战。
Мы, народы Объединенных Наций, преисполненные решимости избавить грядущие поколения от бедствий войны.
Nosotros, los pueblos de las Naciones Unidas, resueltos a preservar a las generaciones venideras del flagelo de la guerra que 2 veces